Hi guys, welcome back to another Daily Tarot card. These are your Daily Tarot cards for Wednesday, December the 7th, 2022. Today we're pulling from the Alice in Wonderland Tarot cards. So we have the Wheel of Fortune. A stuck situation is moving forward. We have the Queen of Teacups, which is the Queen of Cups, and I feel like it's like you give to others. I feel like this is a huge message to watch where you are putting your energy. So when we breed on negativity, it's like we're festering like a toxic environment, right? You see with the Chariot here, Alice is in this bottle. So if she sits there and overreacts in this situation, the bottle will topple over and water will come in. When the jar fills with water, she will essentially drown in this storm that she's in. So it's like, how are we reacting in a situation that we're not comfortable with? We're not comfortable with the situation. But it's like at the same time, it's just like, you will survive. And I feel like this is like spirit protecting us. And I feel like it's like there is this angel prayer that asks God, they're like, and visualize God digging his mighty powerful sword. It sounds so bad in that way, but it's like or Archangel Michael, excuse me, digging his sword into your home. And it's like this like transparent sword, but it has a lot of force. And all of a sudden this dome comes over your home and is protected. Honest to God, I will tell you that I use the Viking rune of protection. I put it on my fence poles because someone kept breaking into our basement. Well, attempting to. Thank God they never, I feel like if I didn't get that camera, they probably would have gotten in. But it's like we set up a bunch of stuff down there. So it was just like, the guy was amazing. I told him what was going on and he's just like, oh, I'll fix them. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, thank you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, we have the camera up, we did everything, and by the grace of God, nothing has happened since. Thank God. You know what I mean? Like, we took the proper precautions because I'm like, you know what? I don't care if you want to break into my home and take the material things, but by hell, you're not going to come up those stairs and come near my children. Material things I can replace. My children, I can't. You know what I mean? It's just like, but you don't want to put that in the universe and have with no harm to none. You know what I mean? But it's just like, like we called the police, we had fingerprints taken down, we had everything done. You know what I mean? And it's just like, we're not flashy people either. You know what I mean? So it's just like, just leave us the frick alone. You know what I mean? Like, we mind our business. We don't get in people's business. You know what I mean? But it's like, when you start frigging around with my kids, that is a whole different scenario. You know what I mean? So that's where they're talking about here is like this protection is around you. So they're saying even in this situation, but like if you see the Wheel of Fortune is a positive omen of things moving forward. So even though this is it's not horrible, it's just, it's frustrating. Like, honestly, like, we had this happen before and I was like, you know what? I saw it as job security. I'm like, the one account we have is not always busy. Like, it has downtimes. Which is kind of good because, you know what I mean? When you're getting screamed at 24/7, it's just like, ugh, but it's just like at the same time, and so I saw it as job security. And then we got this other one and I'm just like, crap, like it's like a whole different form. Well, two more. It's a whole different format and everything, and then like, last night it's like from here to there, to there, to there, to there, which is fine because we got to get used to it. But at the same time, I've been like telling this one person that's having unfortunately a physical reaction to this. I was like, it's only where we put our energy into. I'm like, we're lucky enough to have amazing managers where they're not going to sit there and be like XXXXX. They're understanding. They've been in our shoes. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to take time. You know what I mean? Like, some people, yeah, they'll just catch on to it like that because they're computer savvy and they're whizzes and you know what I mean? Me, it's just like, you know what I mean? I'm getting better. I'm getting more confident, but it's at the same time, like, there's certain scenarios that come up and I'm like, huh? Actually, after I'm done this, I'm going to go and ask because I'm just like, last night I was like, I like knowing what I'm doing. I'm a problem solver. When I can't solve that problem, it ticks me off to no end. But, we have the Two of Swords here to make a decision. And I feel like the power is with us. Either you're going to sit there and put positive energy into a situation and you will be the victor wearing the wreath. You get two positive cards here, Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot. With determination and dedication, you will be the victor wearing the wreath. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's like it will turn out better than you thought. You know what I mean? I always go to the worst case scenario. You know what I mean? And I hate the fact that I always do that. Like, even when I go to people's houses, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this and this, this, and this. And I have an amazing time. You know what I mean? So it's just like, based on bad experiences, I don't know. We have the three of spears here. For me, it's always like the three of wands. This is like your ship is about to come in. You know what I mean? That's what three of wands is to me. You know, with no harm to none, we begin this for a while. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's Christmas, so gifts of appreciation, bonuses at work. It just depends what your life is, right? So certain different things. You know what I mean? Like, it's in different scenarios. Like, you may get a gift that you weren't expecting. You may have an income. Like, you know, I don't think it's like anything crazy that you could retire off of. You know what I mean? Even Spirit said that this is going to be like a one-off. You know what I mean? And it's like, use it in the right way. Plan for the future. Do the right thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we could sit there, like, you know, they're showing the Queen of Cups here. We could go crazy, you know, and spend all this money. Or we could sit there and do this in a positive way. We could sit there and you know, how would I explain that? We could sit there and fill other people's cup, but it's a temporary situation. I feel like this is bookmark for something. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you've been manifesting things in, and I feel like that's why Spirit was like, remove these obstacles. You know what I mean? Like, let's remove these obstacles with the salt and cinnamon. So I feel like in that scenario, it's just like, you know, doing the right thing in that scenario where we're sitting there and we're like, let's, you know, be positive in this situation, even though we feel scared. Because you can even see Alice's face. She looks terrified. You know what I mean? I'm not terrified in this situation. I'm uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because I'm just not perfect, but I always want to thrive in situations. And I know it's going to take time. Like, you know, like I go into the other ones and I'm just like, you know, I just fly through it. You know what I mean? So it's just like this one, I just feel, I feel like, oh my gosh. I feel like my feet they're showing in wet cement. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm trying to walk forward, but it's hard to walk forward, you know? But like anything, like even with me with tarot, I'm like, you know, where I am now and where I was before is totally two different things. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, be confident in yourself. Take the time that you need. Like I even said, like, you know, they're offering like no pays. Like, you know, if you want to leave work early because, you know, the phones are a little quiet, it's like, go ahead. You know, with myself, I'm just like, you know, I'd rather be, you know, practicing, you know, because like, you know, I know things will pick up after the new year, and it's just like, you know, I'd rather be prepared and have that much more hours under my belt than walk away. You know what I mean? So for me, it's more about practice, you know, like as much as it would be appealing to, you know, take a break, at the same time, it's just like, you know, I know that I need some work here. So that's where I'm going to put my power into, my energy into. It's like, you know, yeah, I could go off, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, I can get those hours in with this and practice more, so that way I'm that much more prepared. You know what I mean? So we'll start off with the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is a celebration of change. Life isn't meant to be stagnant. It's constantly moving and evolving. Sometimes the Chariot card represents a pivotal moment or an unexpected event that changes the course of your life. Embrace change with positive optimism. Trust that everything will work out just as it should. So it took me a while. Honestly, I was in denial. Like after Shane passed away, you know, I was sat there and I was like digging out gardens. I was doing like we made a patch, and I was gonna put a flower bed there. And my mom's like, well, she had a bunch of she had green peppers and all these plants, and she's like, can I just pop them in here? She's like, because they're gonna die. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, what are you going to do with the rest of the bed? And I was like, well, I was going to plant flowers. I said, well, now I got to change it because you planted all these vegetables. So she's like, well, what else can we plant? I'm like, well, I have peas. And I said, we could plant some pea plants. And she's like, okay, I love peas. And I'm like, all right. So we planted a bunch of pea plants. And honestly, the birds came and snatched them up and took them away. I'm like, what the frick? You would see the little birds coming. You could smell. I don't know if you've ever grown like the snow peas and all that stuff, but it's like you could smell like the smell of the peas even with the plant just growing. You know what I mean? And there's no pea pods on it yet. They would come snatch them up and take them. I would just, my mom's like, where the hell are the plants? I'm like, the freaking birds keep taking them. And she starts laughing. She's like, okay. I said, I guess we're shit out of luck for peas. So it's like we have this huge garden bed, and it's like, you know what I mean? The other half is empty. It's like, that's where all the pea pods were. So it was funny. But we grew some massive, like, zucchinis and stuff there. Like, it got a lot of light there. And then we started digging out, patch like flower beds, and they had some wild lilies in the field, so I would dig them out and I would put them like strategically around the property because I wanted it to look beautiful, and did all this work. And then we actually dug out this huge circle. We put an angel in the middle, and I had pictures of it on my Facebook, but it was just like this beautiful garden, and it was like homage to, like, Shane and my dad. You know what I mean? And I felt like, it's like a healing garden, right? So it's like there was rose bushes in there and everything. So it's just like when things slow down, like, you're inside now, you know what I mean? And it's just like everything's quiet in the wintertime. It's like everything hits you. And it hit me hard, you know what I mean? But it's just like I had to come to acceptance. I had to come to accepting, you know what I mean? It's accepting the fact that he passed and accepting this is my life. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's a hard reality, that, we built our life. We went from a bachelor apartment to a house, you know what I mean? And for that to change so quickly was just, you know what I mean? It's hard. And I feel like that's what Spirit is saying. A change is coming in. I know for a fact that change brought me closer to God. Like, I had to go through that journey alone to heal properly. Unfortunately, the way that this system works is like, he saw how heartbroken I was, and God bless him. I feel like he was trying to do the right thing. I felt like his heart was in the right place. But for, someone like myself, and there's addicts in my family, it's just like the best thing for me was to do it sober. You know what I mean? It was just like, God bless him. And again, I felt like he was trying, he's like, here's some sleeping medication, here's some anti-anxiety medication, here's some antidepressants. I don't even remember what the other ones were, but it was like 6 big bottles. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, just give me my thyroid medication. I understand your heart's in the right place, but, I needed to purge that. You can't be with someone for 10 years and expect you to just be like freaking fine. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, maybe it was harder for me because I wasn't sleeping, but it's just like, I'm glad I felt what I felt. And I always pushed away being a medium, being, someone with... I feel like all of us possess it, but it's like I know because of my experiences, especially as a child, it's pushed me to further to that site and everything. But you know what I mean? It's just like it's useful to me now, because even that vibration, like of someone being hurt as a child, like I could pick up on it. And it's just like, it's just like you don't know how to approach it. You know what I mean? You just don't want to come out and blurt it out to someone. Like, you obviously want to have their trust and be like, listen, I'm only asking you because I'm picking up on this. Maybe it's someone around you or it's yourself, but it's like, this is what I feel. But it's like, you got to approach it in a certain way. So, I felt like in that scenario, it's like at the time I didn't understand, but they also showed me like if he would have survived just because of the lifestyle that he had, it's like he would have passed away eventually. Like, he wouldn't have changed. Like, he probably would have changed temporarily. Like, he wasn't fat at all. You know what I mean? But his diet was horrible. It's like, it wasn't just his diet. There was other things that played in there. But it's just like, I know it brought me closer to God, and I'm grateful for that journey. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard, but, by the grace of God, I never hope to repeat that lesson ever again. The message of the Chariot is clear. Stay the course. You're the master of your own destiny now. You will overcome any obstacle in your way, so long as you focus, stay confident, and keep pushing forward towards your goals. And that's what I was saying to someone last night. I'm like, think about who our managers are. I'm like, they understand because they're one of them's on the floor, and the other one is, you know what I mean, been on the floor. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they pretend like it doesn't exist. And like I said, some people are quicker to learning things than others, but it's just like they're understanding. And like, thank God our boss is like cool, and it's just like, as long as you're making progression, it'll be fine. So I feel like, with that, I tell people that. I'm like, as long as we're improving, that's all that matters. So it's not going to come easy, but I totally bypassed the Queen of Teacups there. But I feel like that's what they're saying here. With determination and dedication, you will be the victor wearing the wreath. And it's like, don't count yourself out before you even tried. You know, like, how will you ever know if you never try? You know what I mean? It's just like when, like my oldest son, he's a picky eater, he likes to nibble. He sees something, he's like, that looks delicious. And I said, well, try some. You know what I mean? And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, have some. Like, taste it. How will you ever know if you don't like it if you don't taste it? So he dabbles. You know what I mean? Like, we make salad, he don't like it. I put tuna in it, he'll eat it. It's so weird. But he doesn't even like fish. But he'll eat tuna fish salad. Like, if you make like a green salad, you put tuna with it and mix it all up, he'll eat it. He doesn't even like mayonnaise, but he'll eat it. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's why I was like, with when I would get food, he would be like, can I have a taste of that? I'm like, yeah. Like, he'll take a bite and he's like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm like, that's okay. At least you tried it. At least now you know that's not for you. You know what I mean? But my nephew, my oldest nephew's this way as well. But as he's gotten older, his palate has evolved. You know what I mean? He knows what he likes. And to this day, we took him to sushi time when he was about maybe 8 months old. And to this day, he still eats sushi. I kid you not. We took him to sushi, green tea, everything. They just loved him there. He made a huge mess. We cleaned up after him. But they were just like, don't worry about it. Like, no, we tipped them big because he was such a sloppy kid. But you know what I mean? It's just like, to this day, he still eats sushi. So the Queen of Cups, and I feel like this is where, you know what I mean? It's like you fill other people's cups. So it's like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's being aware of what you're putting out, because it's just like people are feeding off of it. And if you're negative as well, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's a breeding ground of negativity. And it's like, it may come back on you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to sit there and be looked like, oh, you're an asshole because you put these things out there. You know what I mean? So it's just like, being encouraging. And it's like, yeah, we all suck, but we'll get there. You know what I mean? It's like, like I said to her, it's like, we've only been on it for 5 days. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not 5 consistent days for the whole shift. It's like, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not constant. So the Queen of Cups represents a maternal, nurturing person, much like the mother of oysters. Rather than giving strict, harsh orders, she tries to guide her courageous oysters with gentle compassion. This tarot card comes as a sign to make sure you're treating others with empathy and understanding they deserve. So my son tells me that. He's like, Mom, I'm not as strong as you. And I said, I understand that, but he is very strong. I said, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm not going to let you, because it's like, it's a little bit of like, he's going through something, but at the same time, it's like that teenage bullcrap. And I'm like, well, I wasn't innocent either. And I keep reminding myself of that. Like, I was certain ways, and that he is. And it's just like, just watch myself. Like, he is a freaking hard worker. He was so dedicated to do something. He pushed and pushed and pushed. You know what I mean? Like, he did these amazing things. He made me crack up. I'm a fan. Like, not just because he's my kid, but like, he really has great content. But it's just like, unfortunately, this thing that happened inside of him as he changes and evolves to a man, it's just like, it's kind of really hindered those kind of things. You know what I mean? He's starting to get into drawing again and everything like that. But at the same time, you can't help but like, I miss those things. Like, they want to delete their channels. And I'm like, no, leave them up there. Stupid Michael deleted all this stuff. And I'm like, you could have left it up there. You know what I mean? Like, just leave it. I'm like, you could put it private, but you don't have to sit there and delete it. I said, look when you guys were going through it. And, Corey Keshin and Ninja and Mr. Beast and Ali A and, oh gosh, what's his name? Shadical. I can't remember the other guy's name. It was him and his brother. I think his name was Mez. And his brothers, they would do videos. Like, but it's just like, though, like, especially Corey Keshin, because that's someone they still follow to this day. It's like, it inspires them. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I love the fact that Corey is authentic, because it's like, he talks about his mental health struggles as well. And it's just like, sometimes we go through crap, and they went through a major life event at such a young age. And I'm like, you didn't feel it at that time. And I said, that's why you're feeling it now. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I healed in the time that they were still growing. And now I'm healed, and now I can take care of them. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's why I tell them, it's like, your content can inspire others. You know what I mean? So I told them, I'm like, keep going. You know what I mean? So they're good. Michael's more into it than Junior, but, hopefully Junior will get back to it. So the Two of Spears, and this is where we get have to make this decision. Are we going to breed a field of negativity, or are we going to have positivity here? This is where I feel like, Spirit is showing, and I hate to harp on Alice here, but it's just like, even though she's in this storm and she could panic and she could be her own demise here, because if she topples the bottle over, the water will fill it and she'll drown. So it's like, realize that safety net. And I teach my kid this, like when we do fire drills and everything, like I teach them how to use a fire extinguisher and everything. It's like, I always tell them, number one, do not panic. I said, what did I teach you? Go low to the ground. Okay, great. Go low to the ground, and they practice going, going step by step down the stairs, low to the ground, and I said, make your way to the front door if it's the safest. If the front door is blocked, you go to the back door. If not, then it's like, what other ways can we get out? You know what I mean? So it's just like, teaching, I feel is very important in any scenario. Do not panic. I teach them that all the time. I'm like, what's the first thing I taught you? Do not panic, because they're panicking. I said, don't panic, I said, you got to have a cool head in this situation. That's one thing me and Shane, like when we would go through things, we would be the dream team, because it's like, okay, let's make up a game plan and let's deal with it, So the Two of Spirit indicate you're caught in a confusing situation and are feeling conflicted. A decision looms in front of you, but you're having trouble making your mind up. Take your time to make your decision. Do not come to any conclusions until you're sure you have all the information you need. So this is very much like the High Priestess. It's like, don't react out of a reaction. Don't react in this way. It's like, yeah, like I even said that yesterday. We all suck. Like, she's like, oh, I suck. And I'm like, I suck too. I'm like, we all suck. I'm like, we're not all going to know it in 5 days. I said, yeah, some of us are more savvy than others. But I said, like, we'll get there. You know what I mean? They did this to us before. It was job security because, like, we know the other account gets slow. And I'm like, at least that's, fast paced. But it's like we all feel like we're, superstars and the other ones. We're just like, yeah, sure. But I know how to do all that. And you know what I mean? You don't realize how good you're at something until something new comes in. You're like, huh? But it's like, we'll get there. So Three of Spears. For me, the Three of Spears is like your ship is about to come in with no harm to none, and so it is. And they've been talking that for a while. Three of Wands. But they're saying a different scenario here, but this is their definition. Three of Spears symbolizes heartache and hurt feelings. You're feeling disappointment and let down. But remember, these feelings are temporary. So this is a temporary feeling. This is where they're saying with Alice here, that, they're saying here with Alice, this is a temporary situation. Look at the panic in her face. But she's buoyant in the bottle. She's not drowning. You know what I mean? She's essentially safe in that bottle. The bottle, we don't see any water inside the bottle. So if she would realize that, and just stay calm and realize, you know what? The storm will pass. It's not going to last forever. And then I'll be fine. Your heart will heal and you'll find happiness again soon. So they're telling you this is a positive knocking. Even though it looks dire, it's like, the Queen of Cups, you're a giver. So it's just like a situation is turning around, but you have to make a decision here. Are you going to let these temporary emotions make permanent decisions here? You know what I mean? So are we going to act in a certain way? Are we going to overreact in a certain way? So that's why that's why I told people, I'm like, that's why when people come to me and they're going through that journey, the grief journey, and they're in the early stages, I tell them, just be kind to yourself, feel what you're feeling, stay as sober as you can, because if you sit there and numb yourself out, the feelings are just going to be there that much more potent after you sober up. So sit there if you can handle it. Obviously, if you can't, no worries. Go to the doctor, get what you need. Go to therapy. I always encourage them. Here's a lot of great friggin' grieving groups. Ed, Quinn, and Nancy are amazing people. You know what I mean? They were in those groups. They met each other. You know what I mean? And now they have love after loss. I love the fact that like they both went through this journey. They're like, hey, you know what? If you feel like you're ready, here's love after loss. And you can sit there and, you know what I mean? Find someone. Some people find each other in the group. Some people, like I was really impressed with this young man, unfortunately lost his wife and he had 2 young kids. And there was a young lady in there. She lost her husband. She had 2 young kids. they came together and became a family. You know what I mean? And it's like, we can't judge anything. That's maybe what they needed. You know what I mean? I haven't heard from them in a long time. I haven't seen anything. So hopefully everything is great. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I love the fact that Ed spins it in a positive way. He even said it took him 5 years. He said it took him that time to heal. And then he went on this amazing transformation of health. And he got his, he found healing in jogging, lifting weights. That's where it was his therapy. He transformed his life. And in that transformation, he met Nancy. And the two of them ended up, now they're married and they've been together, I think, for 5 years now, I think. So it's just like you see those wonderful transformations, you know what I mean? And it gives you hope, especially when you're going through it, when Ed and Nancy would post these things, I'm like, wow, that's freaking amazing. This transformation. And I love the fact that they're showing people like, you know what? Don't let this time, just like they're saying here, define the rest of your life. You're going through this now, but once you heal, and like Ed said, it took him 5 years. I'm not sure how long it took Nancy, but it took him 5 years to get to the point of acceptance and transforming his life and getting in that good, healthy state for him to find love again. When the timing is right, that right person will be put in your path, Spirit was so kind to remind me of that. You know what I mean? It's just like every single thing you needed since Shayna's past has been put in your path. And that's what I'm saying. Like, don't make these permanent decisions out of temporary emotions. And I definitely feel like that's what Spirit is saying here. Do not sit there and make permanent decisions. Do not sit there and breed a breeding ground of negativity. Sit there and move forward in a positive way, and see where it takes you. So I hope you guys enjoyed these Daily Tarot cards for Wednesday, December the 7th, 2022. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next Daily Tarot card. Bye.